How's it going, everyone? This is Witzemann and welcome to another vlog. Very regular, very basic. Today I got something, well, not so basic actually. I got something pretty interesting in my opinion to talk about, which is my current skate setup. There's a couple thoughts behind it. That's why I think it's still pretty interesting, but I'll get into it right away. I'm back on some big wheels. As I did skate in my previous video, I'm skating the Icon ACTs right now. Very comfortable skate, fits my foot really well. I do like the plastic boot in general. It's a pretty similar fit to the Sways, so it's pretty wide in the front, especially. That's what I need. Since it's not raised heel, I had to rework some things on it, which I already did. So I got my shock absorbers. I got a second footbed for the heels especially. So I got a slight raised heel, which I needed. I reset the cuff to lower back, down and back position in order to get some forward flex. And I got the MyFit bulletproof liner on this one. So for me right now, it's pretty much perfect fit. And I originally skated this with a Wizard Advanced frame, so the 80 and 100. But for purposes of just distance skating, as well as doing workshops, which I already did one, but still I wanted to do full workshops. I didn't want to go into like these super specific setups, but rather have like just a regular 4-wheel, big wheel setup, which makes it more relatable to show people some basics, which I did. So that's why I ended up on the Kaiser Edge frame 4x90. And so yeah, first things first, I really enjoy this wheel size. I like the look of it. It really fits the length of this boot really well, both the frame and the wheels. And it's just high enough for me to like maintain enough control for, especially like for distance skating, but also for tighter turns and stuff. And then I remembered one thing that Nicola Torelli told me when I was in Berlin for return, which is that he only does like wizard type skating and flat ground skating on non-rockered frames. So like same frame like as this, so the Kaiser Edge, but the 4x80 version of this, so the slightly smaller one. And just for the sole purpose of like putting more power, more intention in your flat ground moves, which makes it harder, at least at first. But if you get the moves done correctly, he said it would be more rewarding. And so I tried it. And last time I wanted to go to a Friday night skate here in Vienna. I just had same setup, and meetup point for the Friday night skate is like this perfect flat ground in the middle of the city. And I just thought to myself I would just try to do some wizardy kind of things, and it ended up being so much fun. And I think I just rambled on for 5 minutes just to tell you how much fun this setup is for like wizard type skating, whereas the frame doesn't really do any work for you. You have to do all the work. So it's kind of nice to have a bit more flex on the boot, so nothing carbon fiber or anything, but slightly like side flex option, and slightly broken in wheels. Like it's definitely not gotten to the point where I have like this natural rocker that comes with just skating a lot, but I do have like, I did skate off like the top coating of the wheels, so they don't stick as much to the ground as they did at first. But you can already tell, like this wheel especially, you can tell like how far off to the side I had to go for certain movements. And that's kind of the thing. Like this is the update on my current big wheel setup. It's also nice to know that whenever I want to do like distance skating, which I rarely do, when I want to switch from distance skating to wizard type skating, I don't have to switch frames anymore, because this is good for that. This is made for distance, and I'm just gonna abuse this for any other type of flat ground skating. So that's, yeah. And also I did do a bit of like a duct tape patch right on the inside, so whenever I would do like toe or heel presses, they would touch and like make it harder, like, or make it more sticking together, which I removed because it was ugly, and it kind of like defeated the purpose of a simple setup. And also I think it's nice to have like this support where it's like there's like this point of friction where skates hold together, especially for like a toe press where you don't want to focus on this part on its own. But then also I think with enough practice, it's not needed. Yeah, it's a nice thing to have, but if it's not there, I wouldn't bother working on it, or at least from my current perspective, I wouldn't. That's pretty much all on this setup. Skating the gray ones for now. I think I might want to switch to the black ones, because that would be just a very nice and clean setup, but also this looks pretty nice and clean. Maybe even the white ones. It's a nice color palette. But yeah, back and forth, back and forth. This is my setup. I do enjoy skating this a lot, and I do enjoy talking about this a lot, and I will get to skating this now, because I only did one half of the things I enjoy about this skate. Also, as I'm putting on the skates, I forgot to mention, like, my first introduction to wizard skating, or wizard type skating, or at least doing wizard type skating myself, was through the promo video that JK and Mike Torres did. Jung-Kyu, sorry. So yeah, Jung-Kyu and Mike Torres did this promo for the Braindead PR 5x80 wizard skating frame, and that was also like, when this promo dropped, that was also the same Blading Cup where I bought these frames, and that was the first time I ever gotten into doing like any sort of like more elaborate flatland skating. And I just realized the other day that I never really tried doing any of these moves with something other than a wizard skating frame. I haven't even tried to do these with knockoff frames that would also have a rocker. So yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. So this is a very new chapter for me in this category of skating in general, and it's pretty interesting. It's interesting to see where it's going, and also like how this will change my approach to just flatland skating in general. Because my initial thought, or like what I was kind of afraid of, was that the playfulness would be gone with wizard skating frames doing some of the work for you with the rocker that they have. They would make it more easy, more accessible for you to play around with it, and yeah, just kind of let the mind go, just let the skates and the body do the work. And with this change, I think it's like the playfulness will still remain, but ideally it will result in more powerful maneuvers, more intentional, as I said in the beginning, just what Nicola said. I think it's a very, very true statement, but there is definitely a bigger hurdle getting into it. So I am talking again, I'm not skating, so I'm gonna get to skating now. Quick spot scouting. So this is the flat ground I'm skating today. There's a lot of lines on here. This is also where I'm gonna do my first wizard skating basics workshop, because I think the lines on the ground help you kind of like do some like work on inside and outside edge. There's a lot to do here. There's also just regular flat ground over there, and over here there's just like this like bike park kind of thing. Get some safety on your bike and all that, but some of these features are pretty good for basics in skating as well. That's why I also did my basics skate, like inline skate course right here, like workshop. So yeah, that's where it's at right now. We're right by the water. Nice, it's nice scenery. There's shade, there's a water fountain, there's everything. Let's skate. Quick in-betweener. This is a lot of fun. And I do notice that sometimes the frame, or I do notice that the frame doesn't help or anything. The frame just does what it does. But at the same time, whenever I do get a movement, there's so much more flow going into it. There's so much more power coming out of it, because I don't lose any of the momentum on like straight turns or like sloppy turns. So whenever I do get to go over an edge, to turn over an edge, I need to be like so far leaned into it that it ends up helping me like pump out of it, like have like built this sort of transition to pump away from on the ground, if that made any sense. Which it does to me right now, but maybe it doesn't even make sense while I'm editing this, but that's, yeah. Quick in-betweener, I'm gonna keep skating. I feel like every time I'm talking about skate setups, it's a very min-max thing for me. So it's either I love everything about the setup, or I cannot stand anything about the setup. And right now it's just, it feels pretty much like heaven. But that's just generally because the skates are super comfortable, and I feel like I have a lot of control. I have a good spot right now. Like this flat ground is just a lot of fun. There's just some slight resistance, but it's just good enough for me to do like sliding maneuvers as well. The lines on the ground are so much fun because sometimes they imitate some of the flat ground moves that I want to do. It's also nice to like focus on one of those lines in order to like get a perfect inside or outside edge. And yeah, there's like no cars anywhere around here. There's very few people walking around here even. Yeah, it's just, spot is in the sun, the chill out spot is in the shade. And as for the setup, I want to add something, like more value to this video by just like pointing out a couple of things, but there's really not much to add to it, so I'm just going to keep skating. There's been a couple of movements that were extremely fun with these frames. A couple ones that I think are taking a bit more time and effort. Especially when I'm doing the S move, I can notice how much more focused I need to be, or like how sloppy I would do it. I would have done this movement sometimes, but now it's kind of like changing, or at least I'm trying to get that change. But generally, all in all, I don't want to take off these skates right now, but it is getting pretty hot, and I do want to skate aggressive later. So I'll have to decide within the moment, but as for words, I'm pretty much done. There wasn't really much value in my words from the beginning, but I can highly recommend this specific setup. One, for the look, and two, for the feel of it. One thing I do definitely notice is, like, with that little amount of obstacle I have right here, skating anything that is sort of transition-like is much easier without a rocker than it is with a rocker, because the rocker kind of like adjusts and like all of your wheels are touching at the same time. So it kind of like works the opposite as soon as you're in transition, whereas this kind of like just works regularly. I do, that's one thing I had in mind before. I do really enjoy having the shorter wheelbase again. So that's why I had on the 5x80s. So 5x80s was slightly longer than this, but the advanced was definitely a lot longer. And for one, I did like this because it felt kind of like skiing. But on the other hand, it's so much length of a boot, and like with the wheels and the frame that you have to work with, it always takes out some of the energy of your movement. So like, I do enjoy doing a bit faster movements. I do like the fact that whenever you're doing flatland skating, anything wizard type thing, you kind of have to let your movements breathe. You kind of have to, like, some of these movements like take a couple of seconds even, whereas in aggressive it's always kind of like very fast-paced movement. I notice it especially when I'm trying the Z, which takes a lot of time building up for that second, for the unwinding of the monoroll. And so yeah, that's sort of a thing. So like the movements still take more time than they do with aggressive, but since I can move my skates, like the skate is like faster to move itself, you know, that within that short range that you have when it comes to like the quickness of a maneuver, you're more on the quicker side, which I enjoy, which I enjoyed on the 5x80s as well. But with this, again, I do generally just enjoy standing up a bit taller, having a bit of more like higher stance. Since you can remove the sole plate on the icons, this felt also pretty nice. Closing thoughts. Skating is fun. I always tell myself to do more flatland skating and I end up not doing it, but today I did it, so I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna get myself some ice cream. I'm just looking over the river to one of the ice cream trucks. Support me on Patreon if you don't already. Thank you for everyone that is doing it so far. Thank you for everyone that watched this video and watched me ramble on forever and also do some skating. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed this one. Keep skating.